Facebook's job is to get people at the subscription phase or at the engagement phase. It is your job to begin that conversation. So I'd put it to the masses, I'd put it to the thousands of people screwing around on Facebook who haven't been able to make Facebook work yet. It's simply because of the short-term mentality of, I'll spend $300 or $400 on Facebook and let's see how it goes. That will never work in a bazillion years, and it is the reason that so many people are failing to make Facebook work. So if you are watching this on YouTube and you like to listen to this, I'm going to encourage you to head over to iTunes, because you can listen to this episode audio. You can download it and you can listen to it whether you are flying, you are running, or you are walking. And if you are listening to this on a podcast and you would like to watch this on video, I am recording this live from a very beautiful San Diego here in March. It's March the 17th, and we've spent the last 3 days at an incredible marketing conference here in California. And today I'm going to wrap up, or certainly talk to you about the last 3 or 4 weeks. The last 3 or 4 weeks I've been traveling around. Where have I been? Texas, I've been to Austin, I've been to San Antonio, and I've been to New Mexico, I've been to Las Cruces, and I've made my way to California. I've been from California to Phoenix, back to California, California to Las Vegas, and back to California, and here we are right now. So along the way, I've given talks in 4 different states. I've spoken to certainly over 100 PTs personally, and I've addressed and spoke to probably 300 to 400 PTs in a conference, and shared with them my knowledge and my message, if you like. So it's been a pretty epic 4 weeks, and if I could sum it up, everywhere I go, the topic of conversation. Where we are right now, by the way, is where are we? San Diego, Seaport Village. It's about 4 p.m, 5 p.m, so pretty soon sunset is on the way. So if I could wrap up the last 4 weeks of traveling from London to where we are today, I'd say that everywhere I go, everybody wants to talk patients. They all want to talk marketing, everybody wants to talk Facebook, everybody wants to talk lead generation, and I'm cool with that, and I think it's good. But I think a lot of people are missing the point of what marketing actually is and the real value that it can offer to a practice. And if there was one phrase that I would implore you to take and to really truly understand what it means to your business and to your life and your ability to help people, it is the fortune is in the follow-up. It is a phrase that I've lived by in each of my businesses, and it basically rectifies one of the problems that we human beings have. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. It rectifies one of the problems that we have as human beings, which is our inability to make a decision. We're just not very good at pulling the trigger on anything, particularly things like healthcare, PT, which are grudge purchases, and as the cost of healthcare rises, that grudge will increase. So you're better off being ready for that and accepting that and building your business from that point of view. And a phrase that I live by is the fortune is in the follow-up. And what that means is ultimately, to explain that, we have to go back to basically the time that PT began, or the very early days of how PT practice was built. And ultimately, we've been a very lucky profession in that we've never had to figure out direct marketing and sales. We've never had to have sales pipelines. We've never had to have marketing teams. We've never really had to figure out how to use the internet or direct marketing to get patients, because obviously in the beginning they were always sent to us by doctors. So what's happening now is, as businesses run into trouble because doctor referrals are not quite as easy to come by as they were, even word of mouth referrals are starting to drop off for a lot of businesses across the world as we're seeing it. And everybody's rushing out to do adverts on Facebook or adverts on newspapers, adverts on Google or whatever. And they're not working as well. And one of the big problems, the fundamental problems, is that PT businesses have basically never had to figure out how to acquire patients from the very beginning. We have essentially been able to miss base 1, 2, and 3. we've been able to miss the first three bases of acquiring a customer, acquiring a patient, when every other business in the world has had to start from scratch. They've had to start from the awareness level, they've had to have some kind of engagement, and they've ultimately had to have people subscribe. Now, subscribe can be to an email list, it can be by giving you their telephone number or their contact details so that we can follow up. So when I say the fortune is in the follow-up, it's simply because literally 99.9% of PT businesses on the planet, by the way, are not following up because they don't have the mechanism in play to follow up. They don't understand what follow-up is. They don't understand that it's a prerequisite. When obviously we've been used to a patient calling our practice and the phone ringing or an email going or a fax going or whatever it will be, we're used to that person literally converting from, interested prospect to patient, thanks to the doctor or thanks to a third-party referral, workers' comp claim, whatever. So now, as patients need to be acquired from the very beginning of the journey, which is raising awareness using a platform like Facebook or Instagram or Google, we then have to engage with them on that platform. We have to give them good content. We have to give them lead magnets. We have to give them blog posts. We have to help them to watch videos and help them understand the journey that they're going on. Then we have to get them to subscribe. And those three bases there are essentially what is being missed by most practices around the world. They are trying to get people to literally get to fourth base, to get all the way around the base, if you like, without factoring in that there's actually three bases before it. So 99% of businesses listening to this podcast, I guarantee, if you're an established business, you've been so used to a doctor referral, that's essentially the home run has been made for you. Like, we didn't have to line anybody up on the base. We didn't have to line anybody up at the awareness base in baseball terms. We didn't have to line anybody up at the engagement base. We certainly didn't have to line anybody up at the subscribe base. We literally took them all the way to the fourth base, which was at the conversion. So we have to get people back to the beginning of the journey. We have to understand that truly our first goal is to raise awareness of what we do. And we have to raise awareness to the right people, to the people with pain, with stiffness, who we can help, who are in our community, who are realistically going to travel to come to see us. Then we have to engage with them. So we need a team, or we need somebody sending out the blogs, putting out the videos, sending them information to ultimately help them to make decisions. And then we have to be able to convince them that we know enough for them to give us their email address or their telephone number so we can get them at the subscription phase, which is ultimately the follow-up phase. And it's the fortune is in the follow-up for that very reason. So not just from a direct marketing point of view and acquiring new patients is the fortune in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up is also true for people who arrive at your practice who then drop off. Speaking to PTs and working with PTs all over the world, one of the big mistakes, fundamental mistakes that PT business owners make is that when a patient doesn't convert on that given time, in that given day, in that given week, they assume that that's a lost lead or that's a lost customer. When again, nothing could be further from the truth. I'd wager that historically in my business, for 5 out of 10 patients who tell us that they couldn't afford our fees or that they just didn't want to go ahead, when we call back up, usually within a 90-day time frame, 50 to 60% of those people will convert to patients. Fortune is in the follow-up. So we have a follow-up system in play that converts those patients, those lost patients, if you like, into paying customers. Now, wherever you are right now, if you are losing 4, 5, let's say 10 inquiries a month, and you're able to reactivate 4 or 5 of those patients to become patients, over a 12-month period of time, you've probably acquired 50 patients who went on to give you $1,000 that you would have lost. It's a serious amount of money. 50 patients who then get the transformation, who then tell friends, they become promoters of your business, they become advocates, they become returning customers over a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year period of time. This is how huge businesses are built. Again, we've got to think big, we've got to think long term, and we've got to think what the compound effect of all of these decisions that you're making today is. If you want to know what your business is like today, look at the decisions you made in the past. If you want to know what your business will be like in the future, look at the decisions you make today. If you continue to put off making the decision to invest in follow-up systems, if you continue to put off the decision to invest in marketing services and having awareness raised about what you do and how you help people, if you continue to put off making decisions around engaging with customers on Facebook or Instagram or Google or on an email or whatever because you're too busy, then you'll always be too busy for success. If you continue to put off decisions around creating lead magnets or books or putting out videos to turn potential prospects into subscribers to get them on an email list, and then use something like Infusionsoft to follow up and to nurture, you'll always have the business that you have today. So really today, as I sum up the last 3 or 4 weeks, everybody wants to talk Facebook, and everybody wants to talk Google, or everybody wants to talk even Infusionsoft, thinking that it's going to, magically overnight change your business. It absolutely has the potential to change your business, but only if you invest the time, energy, and effort into using it in the way that your business needs and your customers need, which is ultimately sending them information to help them make decisions at various points of their journey. So the short-term mentality has to stop. It really is a fool's race if you're trying to win a sprint or train for a sprint, train for a marathon by sprinting every day. You're not going to do that. We've got to put an end, and this is another thing that I'm seeing. So many people coming up to me telling me that Facebook doesn't work. Facebook does work. Facebook's job primarily is to deliver you engagement or leads. Deliver telephone numbers and email addresses of people in your area with problems that you can solve. That is the job of Facebook. Facebook's job is not to spit out customers. Facebook's job is to get people at the subscription phase or at the engagement phase. It is your job to begin that conversation. So I'd put it to the masses, I'd put it to the thousands of people screwing around on Facebook who haven't been able to make Facebook work yet. It's simply because of the short-term mentality of, I'll spend $300 or $400 on Facebook and let's see how it goes. That will never work in a bazillion years, and it is the reason that so many people are failing to make Facebook work.